Hello fellow friends and adventurers, Don here from D&D Awakening. Join us on our travels today with a new D&D story, How a Game of Pathfinder Helped End My Marriage. For context, I am a 30-year-old male and grew up in a very religious home as a child. Never strayed much into fantasy stuff. D&D, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter were all off limits until my late teens where I did some Star Wars roleplays and with that same group did a D&D one-shot. I liked it, and those good memories stayed with me for my college years. Fast forward and I am in my early 20s, didn't graduate college, been married for all of 2 years to my high school sweetheart due to religious reasons. I loved her, but if not for the Christian aspect of our lives, we wouldn't have gotten married that young. Also, we had a child at this point too, who was just over a year old. Our marriage is shaky at best, and we are doing our best to establish ourselves financially. But it's hard with no degree and a child. My wife is spending less and less time at home with my son and I. One day, in passing, she asked if I'd like to RP with some friends of hers from work. It'd be a D&D campaign set in a custom setting. I agree, but only because I want to spend some time with her. I meet the DM and I can immediately tell something is off. He starts asking me what player class I want to be and I say something along the lines of, I don't know, a spellcaster of some sort would be cool. To which he responded adamantly, no, you are a Christian. You have to play a paladin. Anything else would be against your faith. I try to argue that nothing in the Bible says I can't roleplay a character. I'm not actually practicing magic. He insisted, and even had a mostly filled out paladin for me to just put the finishing touches on. I ask about my wife's character, and he says, oh, we already made one. She's a rogue, catgirl, a custom species he made just for her, also the last of her kind. So I can't match with her. There is a lot of talk between them about how perfect paladin is for me since I am already a man of faith. I feel patronized and belittled. Despite all this, my low self-esteem ends me up in session 1 of this adventure. During the planning time, the DM had changed the game to Pathfinder because it fits the setting better and changed everyone's character sheets to go with it, all except mine. So I had to constantly ask for help with rules and my stats, abilities, spells, whatever else. Session starts and we go through the customary introductions at a bar, which made no sense for a lawful good paladin. But whatever, the other players are using pre-made characters the DM made and have little interest in them or the game. It was boring dialogue, following an introduction of a DM PC half-demon who would be guiding our party. The DM PC was half-cat person and half-demon and immediately took to my wife's character refusing to acknowledge mine since paladins and demons are mortal enemies. We get led into an ambush that was meant to have my wife's character save us all with her special abilities. But because she didn't feel it was in her character to do it, and the DM said nothing, I ended up having to sacrifice my character to save the party, who got resurrected by the party at the next town. I was starting to see the bullshit, so the DM offered a quest to get me some holy weapons to power up my character. The quest involved a trap that requires out-of-game knowledge to avoid or disarm. When I correctly told him how to disarm the trap, he had his DM PC trick my wife's character into tripping it. My character nearly dies again. At this point, the session ends with me crippled in a hole. The party lost and my wife's rogue flirting with the half-cat boy demon. I was pissed. I didn't want to do another session. My wife begged me, saying she was having a lot of fun. I asked if she had noticed that she was getting preferential treatment and I was getting shafted. She said I was imagining it. I wasn't. The DM ended up at my house the next day. While I was home with my son, he came to my door and when I opened it he shoved the character sheet in my face. He changed my stats, lowered my intelligence and charisma and boosted both my strength and willpower, saying this matches you better in real life. Before I could think about what to say, he left. Drove out to my house, unannounced, just to mock my intelligence and left. I put my foot down, told my wife I was done. She said the game would be ruined without me since the other players quit. Unsurprisingly too, he wanted it to be just the 3 of us, she said. I got chills down my spine at that. I still refused, urging that she should too. What he was doing was unhealthy and creepy. She got pissed and told me to grow up. I started seeing her a lot less after that. Fast forward months later and I start finding messages on her phone in character from the RP about how perfectly that my wife and creepy DM guy go together and how a man of faith like me should just butt out of the affairs of fallen spirits in love. He went on to say I had no power over her and that our marriage wasn't real because this plane of reality isn't where her soul existed. Her responses were in complete agreement, even to the point of saying she'd leave our son with me so she could be herself again. I tried to calmly confront her but she blew up. We stopped speaking. Then months later she packed her things and disappeared for months. She made it a routine to come to visit with our son for a day or two and go for months at a time. Eventually, she left creepy DM guy, but I had moved on. I asked for a divorce, and we settled amicably. Been co-parenting our son peacefully for several years now. It didn't ruin my interest in tabletop RPs. But I definitely only play with groups of people I know now. Oh my god, What a heartbreaking story. That's one way to destroy a marriage. What do you think of the wife in DM? Comment below and let us know. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing for more Dungeons and Dragons stories. Take care, and I'll see you all in our next adventure.